Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to TDA. It is Friday, the 9th of August. Emmanuel, how are we in August already?
It's crazy, isn't it? Crazy.
Like, it's scary.
Crazy.
But as I said, guys, welcome to TDA, the day after, your favourite news platform and home of popular culture as defined by us and yourselves, who are the culture. It's a bit of a quiet one today.
At the moment.
Mm-hmm. ATM, as the young people would say. But yeah, you got me, your girl Justine, representing the Black Queens in the fitness scene. How you mean?
And they call me E-Man, the pro-Black activist, TDA producer, news analyst, melanin jam-packed.
Brent, are you live? No? Are you live, Brent?
Should be on now.
Yes.
Hello, hi.
Morning. All right, good morning, everybody in the chat. Good morning to Joki. Good morning, Babielle. Good morning, Antonia. Good morning, Timmy. Good morning, Imi Snow Globe. Good morning, Crud Crew. Good morning, Akos A. Good morning, Mel S. I ain't seen you in a while. Good morning, Paul. That is it, I think. I hope you all have had a fantastic beginning to the weekend. Good morning, Everest. Good morning, Pawa. And Davina, my lovely Davina. Good morning, Fernand. All right. Oh, and Lavondre. Good morning, sir. I never thought you were the younger version of Kevin Thompson, by the way.
Where is Kevin, by the way?
Kevin's a Batman.
No, he's not. He can't be. I've not heard that name, Kevin Thompson, in what feels like 6 months. I feel like I haven't heard Kevin Thompson's name since January.
Nah, no way.
I haven't.
Serious?
No, I feel like he's not been around or he's not been about. I ain't seen him in the chat. You know what I mean? He ain't called in.
Didn't he call in? There was a time I wasn't here, innit? So maybe about, a month or so ago? He called in?
Yeah,
Brent.
he was part of the panel on Discord. There was a group discussion.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I remember. I think Ramsey was there as well, innit? Is it Ramsey, Ed, Kevin?
Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
And Stacey.
Was it?
Yeah, she was on there too.
Okay.
A couple other people.
Nice. How are you, Gina?
I'm okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, how are you?
I'm right, thanks. I just seen your water bottle there.
Oh, yeah, I'm not, but what can you do? But look at God every month and be like, why? Literally.
Oh, man. Well, we've got a packed show today, man. Should we go straight into the headlines?
Yes, please.
Let's do it. All right, people. So our first set of headlines. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has told police forces to remain on high alert after a week of violent disorder sparked by the killing of 3 young girls in Southport 10 days ago. I want to stop there quickly here because I'm seeing politicians saying, why are we linking the riots to the killing of the young girls in Southport? Do you guys feel the same way, or do you feel like they're completely separate?
I feel like it started off that way, and I feel like it was just an excuse. If I'm honest, I think it's just thugs using it as an excuse to just get things really off their chest because it's gone past that point now. Like, no one's talking about the killings in Southport. Everyone's talking about we want our country back. I don't remember the last time I heard anybody talk about the killings. It's about your country and your king, right? So I get why it's come to that point now. It's like, you have just always felt this way. Yeah. You've just been waiting for an excuse to like come and show your true colours. And you know what? What I'm really enjoying is the Uyibos having to eat humble pie who love to claim and tell you that Britain is not racist because you see right now, there's nothing you can say that can justify what's happening. Not one thing. That's why everybody's just...
Do you know what? One day I want us to have this conversation, yeah. It may seem like a silly question, but I do want us to have a proper conversation on this show, yeah. about the question of, is Britain racist? I know it may sound like a silly question. The reason why I'm saying that is because what do you say to somebody, yeah, who comes out in the counter protests, standing side by side with you, who's white, who's from another, who's basically, a native of this land, and says, but I'm not like this. And I'm actually putting my life on the line to protect the community that I hold dear, just like you. How can you tar us with the same brush? What do you say to that person who says, no, it's not racist? Because look at me, look at my family, look at my friends. We don't believe what these minority far-right groups believe.
And my response would be, cool story, bro. I said what I said.
All right.
What would you say in response to that, Emmanuel?
I would still say, the country's racist because I feel like I would more so be pointing to the institutions. You know what I'm saying? And we've got reports, even reports that's done by them, done independently, that show, for example, the police is institutionally racist and things of that nature. You go to the judiciary system, you see things disproportionately affecting people like us, black people, people of colour, far more than it does, white people. So there's loads of those examples, but it's still a conversation that's worth having because people still look around and feel like, wait a minute, how is this country racist? And you guys can still walk around freely. You guys can still be a prime minister. You guys can still be the head of, you know what I mean? Like how?
You know what it is? I get that, right? But that's, in the grand scheme of things, you're being obtuse because you know what we're talking about. Do you get what I mean? It's like,
do they really?
I feel like they do. Do you know one video I saw yesterday that really annoyed me? Like, it made me kiss my teeth so loud, yeah, because I just thought... And obviously it was a page where, like, I think that it's a page full of actors or something, right? And so they do, like... I'm not going to call them skits, but they do, like, thought-provoking pieces. And it was a black man, and he was in the corridor of his apartment building, and obviously his neighbour's white. And he stopped his neighbour one day and was like, look, every time I see you... He's like, I've lived here for 11 years, yeah? It took me 10 years to buy it. I used to live here with my missus and my kids, but now I'm divorced. My kids now live with my wife. I don't throw parties. I keep myself to myself. I've been here for time, right? So I know it's not the noise, but every time I see you, you don't want to get in the lift. You don't. Do you know what I mean? So what's the issue? Like an older, let's say like a young black man in his like mid to late 30s, and the white man was quite old. And the response really grinded my gears. And he was just like, basically, I've lived in this country all my life. And when I look at you, he was like, it's not even you, it's your people. So when I look at your people, it reminds me of everything that you guys have gone through, like slavery, how you get treated over here, oppression, the government, police brutality, bloods and burgers. I know this is in America, but obviously some of that stuff trickles down here. And me and my friends know that we have white privilege, and we can't help but think that like one day you guys are gonna rise up and get your lick back.
That's what this man said.
Yeah, and every time I see you, I can't help but keep thinking, is today gonna be the day? And I just thought, you've now made yourself a victim. Like, how did you get here? So because you know you have white privilege. Like, I would have, if he said, it's the guilt, yeah, I would have been like, you know what, it's a you problem. Because all of this is a you problem. Like, everything he was saying is internal, right? And it's something that you need to go and speak to God about, because I can't help you with that. But to then say that you feel like one day we're all going to, like, get our own back here, and you can't help but think that maybe today in the lift is the day that I'm going to attack you, slave trade. Yeah, I thought, nah, this is, yeah, I just... I do feel like a lot of them are acting obtuse, like literally acting obtuse, personally. I don't, it's not a case of, okay, the Prime Minister is Asian, or you've got like Asian leaders and whatnot, because I don't even classify them as minorities. Yeah. Like, you can tell that they're not. And that's probably why you guys don't even have them in power, because behind closed doors, you're probably doing key with the same jokes about 100%. Us. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So that's not a good representation. Yeah.
I get you.
Can you remember the story that we covered, or maybe we didn't cover it, of, I think it was a Syrian man in Ireland that got his store burned? Yeah. Well, there was a clip that was going around on X where a white man was interviewing a guy who had a bar across the road, and he was asking the guy, "Do you feel sorry for the guy and his shop?" And the guy said, "No, I don't." And he said that he said a few things that the guy deemed racist, right? And they were outwardly racist, 100%. But the guy was claiming that he wasn't racist, and he shouldn't be calling him racist for loving his country. I don't think that a lot of them actually know what racism is. And they just don't like being called it.
Yeah.
And I think they don't know what it is. They don't know that the thoughts and the ideologies that they have, the things that they say, they would more so attach it to nationalism or love of country than what it actually is to us.
Okay, two things there. Why did you add the "to us"? That's the first thing.
I think because of my point. Me saying I don't think all of them actually know what racism is.
Okay. And the second thing is, how can we differentiate between somebody who is racist and somebody who's a nationalist? Because being a nationalist obviously doesn't make you a racist.
Isn't it the hatred of the other?
Solely because of their race.
100%.
But being a nationalist doesn't mean that you do that, though.
No. You can love your country. You can say you love your country. You could say you love your people. But when it is that you now intertwine that with hate for the other and the espousing of the other, then it becomes racism, surely. Are you a nationalist?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I believe that you would, if somebody asks you that, you would say yes. I don't know if it is that depending on who asks you that, you ask them to basically define nationalism before you answer the question. I don't know. But I do believe that you would say that you love your country, you love your people fiercely.
Yeah. 100%. All right. Some of that, by the way, goes into our topic of the day. But let me get through these headlines. So, the Prime Minister chaired a meeting of police chiefs, ministers and officials on Thursday evening yesterday as part of the government's emergency crisis response. This is the third since the unrest broke out. Sir Keir Starmer said that there was no doubt rapid sentencing, as well as having police in the right places across the country, acted as a deterrent to prevent the further unrest that had been expected on Wednesday night. The government remains focused on the police's response to potential future violence. And on Thursday, judges in Liverpool, Plymouth and Teesside, among other towns and cities, handed down sentences for violent disorder. There were 21 convictions on Thursday alone. So far, 149 charges have been brought, with police expecting the number to rise significantly as suspects are fast-tracked to appear in court. More than 500 people have been arrested and more than a quarter of those who have been charged are under the age of 21. That's what the latest stats show. Next headline, and a suspended Labour councillor has been arrested after allegedly telling a protest that fascists needed to have their throats cut. So Met Police confirmed the arrest in a tweet the Met Police confirmed the arrest in a tweet which included the original video of Ricky Jones, who's a local councillor in Dartford in Kent, appearing to make the comments. The force said that officers have arrested a man aged in his 50s at an address in South East London. He was held on suspicion of encouraging murder and for an offence under the Public Order Act. He's in custody at a South London police station. The comments are in reference to people who have taken part in violent disorder and riots at towns throughout the country, which have seen a mosque damaged in Southport and hotels housing asylum seekers being stormed. Labour earlier confirmed Ricky Jones had been suspended by the party in relation to that video. This means that he will no longer be able to sit as a Labour councillor as he has had the Labour whip removed, so will sit now as an independent. And our last headline, trigger warning on this one, guys, and a woman has been arrested over the posting of an inaccurate information on social media about the identity of the suspect in Southport stabbings. The 55-year-old from near Chester was arrested on Thursday on suspicion of publishing written material to stir up racial hatred and false communications. And in the wake of the 3 young girls being stabbed to death at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class last week, police across the UK issued warnings over the spreading online of an incorrect name for the suspect and a full story about his background. And this woman is being held in custody by Cheshire Police, where she is assisting officers with their inquiries. Chief Superintendent Alison Ross said that we have all seen the violent disorder that has taken place across the UK over the past week, much of which has been fueled by malicious and inaccurate communications online. And that's it for our headlines.
All right, so I'll put up like a message from Gary Brown, right? He says, talking about people not knowing what racism is while not knowing what nationalism is.
Fact.
Please.
I don't think they know what nationalism is either, though.
No, he's basically saying
Oh, he's saying you don't know.
Yeah. So basically, please, Gary Brown, welcome to the community. Please let me know what you think the definition of nationalism is. I'm going to read the definition here. Let me know if it is that this like marries up with your definition. Identification with one's own nation and support for its interests, especially to the exclusion or detriment of the interests of other nations. Is that an accurate description of nationalism to you, Gary Brown? And if so, what did I say that was not that? Let me know, please.
Read that definition again, bro.
Identification with one's own nation and support for its interests, especially to the exclusion or detriment of the interests of other nations.
Cool.
Would you still say that you're a nationalist?
I don't see nationalism as necessarily having to be about the detriment of another nation, though. I think as long as basically being about the love of your nation and pushing the self-interest of that nation. That's how I define nationalism. I don't believe it needs to. It's a necessity, a prerequisite for a nationalist to want to bring about the downfall of another nation.
Well, I guess by default, if you are like solely, fiercely focused on your nation and other people come to you saying, hey, care about this other nation over yours, you're like, nope, sorry, I'm laser focused on my nation.
Yeah, but I'm not going out my way.
Any deals
to do
that we look to
something.
do with other nations, it needs to be priority, my nation benefits.
Yeah, but I don't think that means that you have to, bring down another nation.
So you're saying that you have your own definition of nationalism.
Maybe.
So you're saying there's this description, this definition, but you don't subscribe to this.
No, I see nationalism in the same way Malcolm X see nationalism, in that the focus is on black people and us as a nation and our self-interest.
Oh, you're saying nation as a people as opposed to nation as a country.
I mean, I think you can kind of maybe use it interchangeably as well.
So you're really just making up your own definition.
No, it's not my own. I just don't see it as necessarily having to be something that where you kind of go out of your way to bring down another nation. You know what I'm saying? Because again, that's also not my my view when it comes to economics. A lot of people have that mercantile view where it's like, cool, we focus on ourselves and we kind of, it's like a zero-sum game. I don't see it that way. You can benefit yourself and other people can benefit themselves. Why do you have to benefit yourself and that have to happen simultaneously while bringing down somebody else? I don't see it that way. You know what I'm saying? You can love black people and not hate white people.
No. Again, you're focusing on the people as opposed to the country.
Okay.
You know, when they protest and they say, God save our king.
Yeah.
Right? We love good old England, this, that, and the next, right? What do you see them doing whilst they're doing that? Being nationalists?
Say that again, sorry? When I think it's more than that, though, isn't it? That's just them being a citizen. To say God love their king or their queen or whatever. That doesn't really speak to anything else. That's just footballers do that. You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? We have to sing that in primary school, once every 5 years. I don't think that speaks to anything, really.
So, do you believe that Farage is a nationalist?
He might be. Yeah, he might be.
How about Boris Johnson?
Probably.
Why are you saying that?
Just because of again, obviously I don't know about their entire worldview in it, but just in terms of how much I guess they love their country, to try and be a prime minister.
How do you know they love their country?
Just because I think they've tried to put themselves into certain positions to rule this country, to run this country. And why would you do that if you didn't have a certain love for this country? Because you want to see this country progress. That's how I see it. So again, if my definition is wrong, then okay, fine. But I kind of see anybody who would put themselves in that position to run this country to a certain level and bring about the best for its citizens as a nationalist. But again, if there's a negative connotation to be like, okay, cool, especially at the expense of another people, then okay, I'm not for all of that stuff. And I guess in my definition, I don't include that. So maybe my definition is wrong.
I didn't think that nationalism was actually ebbing into racism. I didn't know the manifestations of nationalism could be seen as, oh my goodness, you are espousing racist views.
Being a nationalist?
Yes.
I think there's probably overlap with some of them, but I don't think it means that you are.
But in how you're speaking, when I just read up the definition, you was kind of intimating that it kind of was. But I read this definition not by, I guess, how one could perceive it, that the exclusion or detriment of the interests of other nations. I'm not seeing it as like you are actually excluding or being detrimental to the other people that are in the country. I'm seeing it as, no, I'm not going to put other countries outside of my country above my country.
Yeah. Is
The
that
love
racist?
for my country is priority.
Is that racist?
No, that's why I said I don't see that as ebbing into racism.
This is what I'm saying to you. This is exactly what I'm saying.
No, but I'm saying this is how I read this definition. But how you were
even-
saying it, you moving it to Malcolm X, and you were talking about nation as a people.
So even in that definition, you're seeing it as not something that goes into racism. Because that one, I'm pretty sure it said, especially at the... Read it again, right?
All right, so identification with one's own nation and support for its interests, especially to the exclusion or detriment of the interests of other nations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it says here, their nationalism is, as an example, their nationalism is tempered by a desire to join the European Union.
You know what? Joe makes a good point. She said there's a difference between patriotism and nationalism. Iman is probably referring to the ideology of black nationalism, which has a different definition altogether. Which obviously, this is the reason why I mentioned Malcolm X, because that's what I subscribe to. But I'm kind of seeing it as, if we were to use that same definition with regards to nations. So if black people had a nation of their own, right, outside of obviously what we have already, you know what I'm saying? What would that look like? Because when Malcolm was with the nation, this is what we was fighting for. To have our own land, you know what I'm saying, and conduct things amongst ourselves. So, you know what I mean? So, I don't know.
It says here, I've just popped it into ChatGPT as a helper. Nationalism is not inherently racist, but it can become racist depending on how it is defined and practiced. The relationship between nationalism and racism is complex, and it varies based on the type of nationalism and the specific context in which it is expressed.
There you go. I think I agree with that. That's basically what I'm saying.
It says it's complex, and it depends on how it is that you use it. But
Yeah.
that's with everything, right? What? You agree with it?
No, but I agree in the fact that it's not just this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is, okay, it has to be at the detriment of another people. Sometimes you just love your people and not care to even consider other people. You don't hate people. You just not focus on them. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much. Welcome, Gary Brown. Stay for a while. We will be very, very grateful to have your insights in certain topics that we discuss.
Especially in this topic of the day now.
Yeah, sometimes you can call in too. or join the Discord where it's much clearer to hear your voice.
Sure, indeed.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, let's go into our topic of the day. All right, people. So I'm pretty sure you guys can see the topic of the day on the screen now, or at least it's going to come up. And this is based on something that we touched on for about 5 minutes yesterday. And it's comments that were made by the Tory leader, the hopeful Tory leader, whatever you want to call it, whatever way around you want to put those words, Robert Jenrick.
Do you want him leading your party?
I don't have a party, Brent.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to catch you out there.
Do you know what the thing is? Funny you mention that. I would like to see a woman to be a leader of the Tories.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would.
Penny Mordaunt?
More so, Kemi Badenoch.
Oh, you want a black woman?
I don't mind, Kemi Badenoch, Priti Patel.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like the Tories need something else.
You think they're going to support a black woman?
It's possible, man. It's possible. I think she's one of the favourites, She's one of the favourites, man.
You think that she's one of the favourites for the people?
Yeah.
The people who are conservatives?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it is. You're living in Cloud Cuckoo Land, mate.
Nah, I'm telling you. I'm not saying she's going to win. You know what I'm saying? But it'll be interesting. It'll be good to see a woman lead the party and see what happens. Anyway, so the other day, Mr. Jenrick said Allahu Akbar should be banned, right? He's basically said that I don't see why anyone who is chanting Allahu Akbar shouldn't be arrested.
What does that mean again? God forbid.
God is great. So I'm gonna.
Astaghfirullah is like God forbid, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna play a quick clip so that you guys can hear it for yourselves. Where the hell is it again? But yeah, he was in the interview basically with Sky News, and that's basically where the conversation came from.
As police have come out in
sectarian gangs as
Robert Jenrick is running to be Conservative leader and claimed that the government and police have not treated counter-protesters equally.
violent disturbances of this kind, whether they are from the far right or from sectarian gangs, as we've seen more recently, for example, in Birmingham, are equally wrong.
And then this about Palestine protests.
I thought it was quite wrong that somebody could shout
What about the
Allah
last 89
Akbar
days?
on the streets of London and not be immediately arrested, or project genocidal chants onto Big Ben and that person not be immediately arrested. That attitude is wrong, and I'll always call out the police for it. I think at the moment, the police are doing their very best.
The Muslim Council of Britain accused the MP of Islamophobia.
Cool. So this is what he said there. You've heard it from his mouth, right? I want to ask this question, though.
Sorry. Priz has said that Penny can't be an MP because she's... No, sorry. She can't be the leader because she's not an MP.
Forgot about that,
She's out of the running.
Yeah, she lost her thing, innit?
Yeah. She'll have to win a seat back first, right?
Yep.
And that can happen, right?
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah, cool.
Not for now, though.
Not for now.
Yes. Thanks for that reminder. Yeah, so you guys have heard what Robert Jenrick said. I do want to ask this question, though. Do you feel like it's ever okay to pander to people's ignorance for the sake of peace? Because in this situation, right, we know people just don't know what it means. They've kind of conflated it with certain groups who may be going on violent protests, right? This is what people are saying. Some groups of pro-Palestine supporters may be doing violent things, whatever, but saying the same thing, right? Saying Allahu Akbar, just like those who are going on the peaceful protests. And so some people in this country who are native to this country, peaceful people within the community, are basically getting scared. So this is what basically Robert Jenrick is somewhat saying. Do you feel like us who are, who've come to the country recently, right, and integrating into the system, into this country, should be somewhat understanding of this? Or should we just label it ignorance, this is Islamophobia, this, that, and the third, this is nonsense, shut it down? Or for the sake of peace, should we be like, okay, cool, let's meet you in the middle somewhere?
But meeting in the middle isn't what he's suggesting, because how can you suggesting that people who say this should be immediately arrested is not meeting in the middle? Let's make it make sense. That isn't. So there is no meeting in the middle. And I think I don't agree with pandering for the sake of peace, because then it's like I'm not being authentic. Yeah. But you can be authentic, so I should be the one to take the loss. It don't sit well with me.
But then, are you kind of seeing it just
like
from...
why is meeting in the middle not you gaining an understanding?
Cool.
Because that will benefit you a lot more in the long run
Yeah.
than me pandering, because you're still going to have this level of ignorance, and then we're never going to progress because I've decided to swallow it just to make you happy. That's not progression.
Okay. So meeting in the middle wouldn't be, for example, like what he's saying. That's just his
Absolutely
side.
not. How?
But what if it was, okay, cool, we'll educate ourselves, but give us a certain amount of time? Because obviously that information needs to be disseminated across the nation.
Give you time, so we can't use the word until you're educated.
Yeah.
No. Like, it's not making any sense.
But we're scared.
Good for you.
But it's my country.
Okay. It's
know what I'm
ours
saying?
now. Sir.
But you get what I'm trying to say? Like, put it this way. Who should be, like, making who feel comfortable?
Are you trying to tell me that because it's your country that I should make you feel comfortable because I'm not welcome here? And the fact I should
Not that you're not welcome. I'm going to welcome you here.
But I should be privileged to be here. So when I'm here, it's like, because what you're telling me is basically, imagine I've gone to stay at your house, yeah? It's your house, innit? And I've come round to stay there. I need to basically tiptoe around you because I should be even happy that you've allowed me to stay here. So I shouldn't be messy. I should tidy up after these are all things you're going to do anyway. But you know what I mean? You know, when you stay in someone's house, you're going to be a lot more cautious and a lot more like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because you don't want to make the other, you want the other person to not regret the decision for allowing you to stay in their house. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. So, 'cause, you know what I mean? Because obviously you've come here and like...
But do you know what's interesting? I think I would understand all of that, yeah, if British people didn't go to other countries and take people from there as slaves and bring them over here, and you know what I mean? If they weren't involved in any of that stuff, I would be able to like engage in this conversation with you. Do you know what I mean? And be like, all right, fair enough, but you lot went to conquer other places and take people from there to bring them here. So you started this stuff.
That is true.
You opened the floodgates, right? Because you went and took people against their will to bring them here to do whatever it is, right? So, like, it's a knock-on effect. Obviously, it's not you per se, but do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, it's like most people back in the day didn't ask to be here. They were happy where they were.
True. And yes, okay, cool.
Just saying.
We came to your country. And we did what we did.
Uninvited, by the way.
Uninvited.
Just
Heinous
saying.
crimes.
And guess what? When you came, you didn't come with that energy of,
No. No. I mean, there are two times in history you're talking about, right? There's the uninvited part. Then there was the invited part.
Okay, but if I'm talking about the uninvited part, right? When you came, you didn't come and tiptoe and act like, oh, you know, sorry, like we're here. Let's be shy because we're in your backyard. So... No. No, man. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I just think if we give into these things, it's going to give people more of a reason to behave the way they're behaving. Do you get what I mean? Because to me, it's confirming that what people are. It's like, okay, so essentially what you're saying is what we're saying is wrong.
It's not necessarily wrong, but I just
because you're telling me that we should be arrested. So in order for me to be arrested, it means I've committed a crime and an offence, which means what I'm saying is wrong. That is what you're telling me.
I guess so.
It's not an I guess so. It's a yes or a no. Just say it.
Okay, cool. Yes, 100%. That's
Literally.
what it means. Yeah, you're 100% right.
They made it illegal.
Exactly.
What? They made what illegal?
To say that, basically.
Yeah. If
Exactly.
If you arrested me, yeah.
That's what you're saying.
100%. But again, that's because of ignorance, right?
So,
and if we are to live in this country peacefully, surely we have to do certain things to get rid of the ignorance. That means sitting down and understanding each other, right?
Exactly. So in the meantime, go and educate yourself.
But in the meantime, should you be walking around chanting certain things?
Yeah, but it's a protest. You're like, the thing is, you're moving as if to say on a normal day, everyone is walking down the street. Like, it's a do you get what I'm saying? Context is what I'm saying. Like, you get it.
Okay, cool. Black Rob asked a very good question. He said, does this tiptoeing have to be done by white foreigners?
Absolutely not. But this is what I'm saying. Why? Because they look familiar to you. The crazy thing is you could probably and this is the thing that's annoying, because I'm not saying that all foreigners, like white foreigners, look exactly like people that are from here, yeah. But just based on proximity of skin color, right? It's not that clear that they're not from here. I feel like with us and everybody else, like I don't even have to open my mouth.
Yeah.
Just from looking at me, the assumption is that I'm not from here.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Whereas a white person, a Eastern European.
Yeah. But let's also be fair though, because there was times where obviously white English people didn't want other white people here too. They didn't want Irish here. We have to be fair and not act as though they just see all white people as the same. That's not historically accurate. And obviously they can tell the difference between those who come from Eastern Europe as well. So when the Albanians come, the Polish come, they are also being treated particular ways. You know what I'm saying? But I guess you wouldn't really see Albanian and Polish protests for people to be scared, if that makes sense. And obviously because they do have similar pigmentation in their skin, it's easier for them to kind of, you know what I mean, come together. But there is still a difference. So if one could argue, if the Albanians and the Polish came to this country and had certain things to protest about and said certain things, let's just say the equivalent of Allahu Akbar, white Brits, white English people might have the same sort of sentiments toward them if they felt their lives were at risk.
I hear it, but it hasn't happened, so we can't go in if, buts, or maybes.
Exactly. But it's not the fault of the white people in this country. You know what I'm saying? Like, that hasn't happened. It's just that...
I didn't say it is.
Yeah.
But again, it's a hypothetical that hasn't existed, so...
Exactly. All right, cool. Let me ask this question here. Because a lot of these things obviously comes down to, like we said before, getting rid of the ignorance, which I think is tied to some degree anyway. Brent, and tell me what you think of this as well. Tied to a people's desire to integrate into the system or into the country, right? Because you obviously know that certain times, if there's like a clear divide between certain communities and I guess the majority, right? What happened?
I just saw this video. They're going wild. Look.
What's this?
This is I think one of the police commissioners or chief of police. I don't know, but.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Phil Hutchinson and I am the superintendent.
Sorry.
For Greater Manchester Police based in Oldham. Obviously echo everything that the leader, Rouge, has said. Firstly, thank you very much for inviting us and arranging the meeting. It's the inaugural meeting. We're having these now bi-monthly, so in respect to what Rouge has mentioned about some increased tension, obviously there are a number of issues going on nationally and within Greater Manchester. We're engaging with all communities, and Greater Manchester Police and UK policing will continue to deal with perpetrators and people who are committing crime.
And then there's this one.
Salam alaikum. Good morning, everyone, and thank you to the leaders and elders.
Bro, this is making them swallow their crumpets, mate. Flipping their tables,
Do you
bro.
know what it is?
What?
Okay, so basically, is this pandering?
This is meeting in the middle.
Meeting in the middle. This is, not gonna lie, this is better than people getting arrested for saying the word, because they're showing you that. And remember, Islam isn't it's not a race thing either, though. Do you see what I mean? Like, there's white women who are married to Muslim men who've converted. So, I'm here for this. I'm here. Salam, my brother.
Bro, white Britain hates this.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, of course they do.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
All right. Do you give them props then for this? The
They're
police?
trying. You know what it is, yeah? For me, it's like, what else can they do, right? Like, they're trying to bridge the gap between the two, and the people doing this are people who are meant to protect the civilians of this country, right? So if you have them doing it, it's meant to kind of, I guess, like, calm your worries. Because like you said that they're scared, right? They don't know what it means. So if you're seeing people who look like you, who you relate to, who are meant to be like your protectors, right, saying it, then that should kind of bring a certain peace about the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I'm seeing it.
Okay. Well, like I was saying before, yeah.
Black Rob makes a salient point. I bet the LAPD repeat their public messaging in Spanish because of the demographics. Is that what he did? The entire message?
Oh man.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Point to effort, man.
Yeah, they try, man.
But that vexates like working class. White working class, it vexates them. Because you know what they're seeing there, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're seeing a hostage video.
That is crazy. You know?
That is crazy.
Especially that first video. That is crazy.
Oh, they tried, man.
Yeah, I want to ask you guys quickly before we move on. Yeah, do you feel like, okay, cool, these problems, yeah, people not understanding each other's cultures, communities, languages, things of this nature, yeah, which is obviously ignorance. Do you feel like it's tied to a people's desire for integration or assimilation? So, for example, to kind of make this thing work, right? In the same way this police officer was like, Assalamu alaikum, yeah? Should we make sure that people who come to this country put in the same amount of effort to integrate into the country? So there's none of this, been here 20 years, you can't speak English. None of that sort of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because how do we get to a place where we feel comfortable saying, okay, you as a black person or you as an Asian person can say this is your country and me feel like, cool, this is really your country. You know what I'm saying? Just like it is mine as a white person.
Is there a country where, like, in order to gain, like, maybe not citizenship, but like when you go, there's certain things that you have to get inducted into, like you have to go on courses and stuff.
Yeah,
is that a thing?
This country. You got to do tests and all that.
You do?
Yeah.
So what's happened then?
But yeah, you pass the test, you learn, you study. Just, you know what I mean? Just like everybody else learns something in maths, and people still think 1 × 1 is, you know what I mean?
As we'll see.
You know what I'm saying? So you can forget the basics. But in terms of a lifestyle, should someone's citizenship be reviewed?
Do you know what? I do think that the reason why I say that, yeah, is when we go to like Dubai, right, or the Middle East, it's like you have to adopt the laws of their land. Mm-hmm. There's no meeting in the middle with them lot. Like you're not coming there. They're not pandering to you. They don't care if you're a tourist. Like, obviously, they've become a bit more lenient over the years with certain things, but like everyone knows when you go over there how to behave in it. Do you get what I mean? Mm-hmm. And their rules are their rules. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes them quite solid as a country or like a nation. So it's not a bad thing.
Mm. Not necessarily.
Yes, I don't think it doesn't always have to be a bad thing.
But if that happened here, though, you wouldn't like it. None of us would like it. If we were told, okay, let's conform to what Britain was like 100 years ago.
And I don't think Dubai claims to be a democratic country.
Yeah, there you go.
Then I can't help you, I'm sorry. I'm trying here.
All right, cool. Well, I think I'm going to ask this question in another topic today about citizenship and if it should be reviewed and should integration be a requirement, like someone's desire for real assimilation and integration be a requirement for citizenship. Because I feel like maybe some of the issues are there. Not necessarily putting the blame on a particular community, but the reason why there will be ignorance. Because we're not coming together enough. At least that's what a white person may think. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know enough about you. You know what I mean? But yes, let's move on from there. People, let's go into our headlines. All right, people, trigger warning on this one. Big trigger warning. For 2 reasons, to be fair. Hugh Edwards, everything surrounding him is a trigger, to be fair. And the second thing, I'm going to get some words messed up here. So, trigger warning to the Welsh people. So, disgraced TV presenter Hugh Edwards has been expelled from the Gorsedd of the Bards, which is one of the highest accolades in Welsh public life. He became the first person to be stripped of the honour because of wrongdoing in a unanimous vote at an Easterdod court meeting on Thursday. The board said they activated a relevant section of its constitution to remove him. A spokesperson said that his membership of the Easterdod was also terminated. Edward has 21 days to appeal the decision and will not be removed until then. The Board of Trustees has set in motion plans to remove him. Edwards, 62 years old, pleaded guilty to 3 counts of making indecent images of children on the 31st of July. He was inducted into the Godset of the Bards at the National Eistafod in 2022, and the decision, which is unprecedented, has been referred to the festival's governing body. Next headline, and the woman who complained about the behaviour of Red Bull team principal, Christian Horner, has had her appeal against the investigation that cleared him rejected. Horner was previously accused of controlling behaviour by a female member of staff at the British-based Formula One team. The 50-year-old has always denied the allegations against him, which surfaced earlier this year. Back in March, on the eve of the season's opening race in Bahrain, the racing team's parent company, Red Bull GmbH, exonerated Horner. However, Horner's complainant, who was then suspended on full pay, lodged a formal appeal against the decision. And on Thursday, Red Bull said that the appeal, which was carried out by an independent KC, had been thrown out. And our last headline, this is a big trigger warning. Obviously not belittling other triggers, but this is a big trigger warning. A prominent British crocodile expert has been jailed for 10 years and 5 months for raping, torturing and killing dozens of dogs.
What?
Yes.
Sorry?
You heard. In fact, let me tell you again.
What's his name? You put a picture up.
Adam Britton. Oh, blimey. You can't make it up. Adam Britton. Britton, 2 T's and O and N. So yeah, man, he's a prominent British crocodile expert that has been jailed for 10 years and 5 months for raping and torturing and killing dozens of dogs. He's a zoologist based in Darwin in Australia, and he pleaded guilty to 56 charges of bestiality and animal cruelty at the Supreme Court of the Northern Territory in September of last year. He also pleaded guilty to 4 counts of accessing and transmitting child abuse material. Britton, who's 52, whose sentencing suffered a series of delays, was on Thursday also banned for life from purchasing animals and having them on his property. His offending involved the torture and exploitation of 42 dogs and the deaths of 39 in a shipping container on his property, which he used to film many of his crimes. Britton will not be eligible for parole for 6 years, this according to ABC. And the Chief Justice, Michael Grant, described Britton's grotesque and unspeakable crimes against animals as he sentenced him. Very disgusting.
What would possess you to rape an animal? Like, and then I'm going to get graphic, so let me just stop talking because the visualization is not doing me any. I need to repent.
It's insane.
Do you think he started with crocodiles?
Nah, no chance.
Why are you putting it past him?
I don't know how
you just read the article.
This is true.
Just read the article.
Like, dogs won't kill you. A crocodile. Like, do you know why? Can I just be honest? You know why I'm finding it extremely bizarre? Because you do this and you bust a nut, and then what? Like, how do you? Sorry, men, right?
It's not a men thing.
No, let me land. Like,
Okay.
How do you get hard? Like, I don't understand. An animal. An animal.
Have you seen the guy that uses as an exhaust pipe?
What?
Let me find the video for you, yeah, because y'all don't believe me.
See, you see when God was making humans, yeah. Like,
don't blame God for this, please.
No, as in there were certain glitches that were he gave us too much free will and choice, man. Honestly, because the stuff that people be doing is wild.
Insane.
An animal.
Disgusting.
Mm-mm.
There it is. All right, trigger warning. Look away. Look away. Look away. Look.
Is the video?
Yes.
What?
So he basically just needs a hole.
No, it's a particular car.
This is crazy.
Look, it's guy. And you're there saying an animal. Look, this is a car.
Yeah, he looks like a crackhead though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crack. Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Look, he's looking up as well.
It's ridiculous.
Just in case he gets caught. Let me just fast forward this. He's finished.
So he actually busted out. Wow. And look at that, you're just gonna go about your day like you're normal.
Can you imagine if you went into that other car?
Not knowing that
Why he parked up and then he's like, I found my type. Oh my
insane.
goodness.
This is
Terrible.
insane.
Terrible. We need to be finished. Earth just needs to just finish. Jesus needs to come back.
bro.
Crazy.
Please, he's on his way down the stairs.
Crazy.
But yeah. All right, guys. That's the end of the headlines. Time to pay the bills.
I think we should end the stream here. I've heard enough. I don't want to report the news anymore.
All right, people. Welcome to the People's Journal, where I give you the news from an economics point of view. There isn't much to talk about. Just pretty much kind of repeating certain things and just giving you an update on the market. So basically, the UK jobs market is cooling, which raises the possibility of another interest rate cut. Apparently, financial markets are predicting a 92% chance, right, of a rate cut in November and a 37% chance of a rate cut in September. That would be good, of course. Which is what, to be fair, it depends on what side of this you pretty much stand. Big up Femstar, he mentioned in the Discord. Yeah, he mentioned in the Discord that his broker, I believe, pretty much predicted this. I think he's saying by the end of the year, there might be 3 altogether. So we've already got 1. So if he's right, if we get something in September and November, then, you know what I'm saying, the broker's right on the money. But yeah, this is basically what it's looking like. So the report, like I said, suggests that the UK jobs market is cooling with slower pay rises and declining hiring of temporary and permanent staff. And the Bank of England, because of this and probably some other factors as well, may consider further interest rate cuts after previously cutting rates due to inflation falling to the 2% target. So obviously that's a good thing. Next thing I wanted to mention also is apparently US stocks had their best trading day since November 2022. So in almost 2 years. Why? Because there was a surprise drop in unemployment claims, and that pretty much helps ease concerns about slowing economy. If you guys remember earlier this week, everything just seemed to plummet. The Nikkei was down, the FTSE was down, the S&P was down, everything was down. You know what I'm saying? But it seemed to rebound, I believe, yesterday. And now, 2 days ago. And now, obviously, reporting from yesterday, the US stocks had their best trading day in almost 2 years. The S&P 500 index ended the day 2.3% higher. The Dow Jones rose 1.8%. The Nasdaq jumped 2.9%. So yeah, man, it's all good all around basically. So that is good news. And this might be the last thing I mentioned. The UK regulator is investigating Amazon's £3 billion investment in AI startup Anthropic. So the UK's competition regulator has launched an investigation into Amazon's investment in that AI startup, basically citing concerns over potential competition issues. This might be similar sort of thing that we spoke about earlier this week with Google getting penalized for basically monopolizing the market. You know what I'm saying? With having that amount of money to actually invest in getting people's data and obviously give them the sort of service that I guess everyone likes, which obviously cuts out the competition for those who don't have that money to invest. This particular deal included a $4 billion investment and a commitment from Anthropic to use AWS, Amazon Web Services, as their primary cloud provider. So yeah, long story short, they are looking into this to actually see if anything's untoward, basically.
I don't think they've been penalised just yet. I think they're
looking at it. They're investigating.
Yeah.
That is pretty much it. You know, there isn't much to talk about. Oh, the other day I did mention how in the summer holidays there are certain restaurants and cafes and stuff where kids can eat for free or very cheap over the summers. Let me just mention a few, just to remind you guys. If you go to Asda, children can eat for £1 at Asda cafes all day, every day. This is not just during the summer holiday, so that's at Asda. And there's no minimum adult spend or purchase required. Morrison's, children and adults can grab a free bowl of cereal every day at Morrison's cafes. Tesco as well, kids can eat free at Tesco cafes when an adult makes a purchase and scans their club card. That particular offer is available on weekdays, only up until the end of this month, or the 30th of August in England and Wales. But up until next week, the 16th of August in Scotland. Sainsbury's, children can grab a hot main meal or lunch bag for free when they're accompanied by an adult who's buying a hot meal from the £5.50, in their cafes. And that offer ends at the end of the summer holidays. So that's going to be up until the 3rd of September. IKEA as well, I think they've pretty much been doing this for the longest while. But children can get a meal of pasta, mac and cheese, and drink as well, all for 95p. And kids' meals are pretty much, priced around £1.50 anyway. So yeah, they've pretty much been doing that for a while. But some of the bigger restaurants as well, like Bella Italia, Pizza Hut, Yo Sushi, TGI Fridays as well. Kids can eat for free, or at least get their meals heavily discounted as well. So check that out, guys, if you're interested. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the People's Journal. But let's go into our last set of headlines. All right, people. So our last set of headlines. The online fashion retailer Shein, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know?
Pardon?
Shein.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, they made a record profit last year.
It actually means, is it Shein? You're right, but ignore me. It's fine.
All right, cool. Well, they made a record profit last year on the back of their soaring sales. The company's financial success is built on its huge popularity with Gen Z shoppers, referring to anyone who was basically born between 1997 and 2012. But the company also enjoys a very significant tax advantage, worth an estimated £150 million in the UK back last year, 2023. Shein connects those who want to buy clothes with those who make them, and individual orders are shipped directly from factories, mostly in China, to consumers in the UK. This arrangement means that Shein avoids the requirement to hold stock in warehouses here, and also means that the company legally avoids paying import duties. For those who don't know, import duty, which is basically a tax that applies to all goods that's over £135. So they basically get around that. Industry experts say that the vast majority of orders with Shein are below this threshold, and those which exceed it are sometimes broken into multiple smaller orders to avoid paying tax. As a result, the UK sales rose to £1.51 billion in 2023. Next headline, and police watchdog, the IOPC, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, said that the Greater Manchester police officer was being probed on suspicion of assault after the July 23rd incident. The officer is also being investigated for gross misconduct. A video emerged last month that showed an officer kick and stamp on the head of Fahir Ahmaz, 19 years old, and as he and his brother, Mohammed Ahmad, 25, were at the airport. Obviously, everyone saw the footage. The footage was shared widely on social media, sparked widespread concern and led to protests on the street. The first officer was soon suspended, with a criminal investigation for assault launched 9 days after the incident. The IOPC said on Thursday that they had received a referral from Greater Manchester Police on August the 6th of a complaint detailing several allegations from one of the people involved. This led to the criminal investigation into the second officer. And after the first footage was circulated, a second video emerged that showed officers being attacked before the kicking. I wouldn't say attack like that, but still, there's more context, I guess. And our last headline takes us to South Africa, where Miss South Africa contestant withdraws after her mother is accused of identity theft. So a South African beauty pageant contestant has withdrawn from the competition after the government accused her mum of fraud and identity theft following questions of the contestant's citizenship. So Chidima Adetshina, I don't know if that's meant to be additional, but yeah, she's 23. She said that she had made the difficult decision to protect herself and her family before the Miss South Africa final on Saturday. And a day after the Home Affairs Ministry said that her mother may have stolen a South African woman's identity. The question of whether she is South African had gripped the country for weeks, with politicians, celebrities and talk shows wading in on both sides, while the law student experienced a vicious torrent of xenophobic abuse. She said that she was born in Soweto to a Nigerian father. Yeah, so it is additional. But they put a T in there, in the middle. But anyway, yeah, so she was born in Soweto to a Nigerian father and a South African mother with Mozambican roots. However, this failed to stem the tide of questions, and Home Affairs Minister said on Monday that his department was investigating her citizenship at the request of Miss SA, Miss South Africa organisation, and the consent of the lady herself, Additional, and her mother. Then on Wednesday, the ministry said that, basically they have reasons to believe that the fraud and identity theft may have been committed by the person recorded in Home Affairs records as Chidima Additional's mother. Yeah, long story short, she's out of the competition. But that's pretty much it for the headlines. Time to pay them bills and get into our interview. All right, people. What happened to this?
There you go.
Cool. All right, people. As promised, yesterday we did mention to you that we've got a wonderful guest coming in today to bless us with his presence and inform us about the amazing work that he does. Good morning, sir. How are you? Oh, let me get the mic.
I'm good.
Before you start, let me just adjust the camera.
Gina's what?
No, nobody's hearing me.
I heard you.
Green juice out the way.
What's in there?
Avocado, spinach, ginger, turmeric, celery, oat bran, and 1 green apple.
Extremely healthy.
And
Very, very vegetable-y.
yeah, you know,
I can smell the taste from here. So I know it's not giving like 1 apple and all those
one
vegetables.
apple, yeah, it's all green. It's all
I know,
green.
but like, you know, sometimes like I feel like with green juices, yeah, they taste extremely healthy. It's not a bad thing,
They do.
but like
You kind of get used
just
to
a
it.
little bit more like sweetness.
So you'd have like a bit of honey in there or something.
No, like I think I'd probably add more than 1 apple
You see, the thing
to
about
give it a little bit more, because otherwise I'm tasting it's
I
giving
know.
earth.
I've been doing it for years, so I kind of get used to it. And I started doing it years ago. I mean, my health was not as great as it could have been, so I thought, let me try something. And then I thought, well, started doing this, and I started it maybe 10 years ago. So when I say every morning, I'd say maybe 5 mornings a week I have a green juice. And
That's very consistent.
well, yeah, you know, and I don't miss the bacon and egg fry-ups anymore,
I hear it.
you know, and it kind of sets me up for the day.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it tastes like balls, but yeah, I mean, you just it's
You're
just
used
what it
to
is.
it, yeah. Fair enough.
Well, thank you for coming down. Thank you.
Thank
for-
you.
Before we get into it, I just want to obviously give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, and then
So my name's Wayne Campbell. I am historically a designer, filmmaker, photographer, scriptwriter, and part-time percussionist.
Okay.
And I suppose over the last 4 years, my creative journey has taken a twist. In such, George Floyd was murdered, and I was completely distraught by what I was seeing. Wasn't sure what my contribution to the cause was, and the universe said, "Well, you should record it." So I rushed out with my weapons, my cameras, and I started to shoot all of the anger in London, on the streets of London, as I saw it. And in doing so, I realised that there wasn't just anger; there was love, hope, and joy. And then I took the images that I was capturing and compiled them, had an exhibition, and then brought out a book called A Celebration of Demonstration. I've got it in my bag. I should have brought it out of my bag before we started this, isn't it? You know what I mean? Then it would have been a bit more professional.
So you got it with you?
I got it with me, yeah.
you can get
Let me grab.
In fact, and even while you're getting that, what we do with all of our guests, we play a little game when we actually get into the interview. So let's do that first, because obviously super interested to get into the inspiration behind that book. But basically, this particular game, it's just a almost like a pub quiz, but there's basically preferences as well. So basically, it might be like a Amazon Prime or Netflix sort of thing, and also with some actual general knowledge as well. So there's gonna be a beat playing, 1 minute. You don't have to rap or nothing. You just need to be as quick.
But if you can
accurate,
rap,
yeah,
it helps.
You know what I'm saying?
Feel free.
But yeah, so basically, if you're not too sure about any of the questions, just say pass.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of passes. Trust.
Do you know you ready?
Yep.
Okay, Brent, you ready?
All right. So we start in
Start. You start.
It's up to you. I don't know.
3, 2, 1.
Movies or books?
Movies.
Red and blue mix what?
Purple.
What do apples and ackee have in common?
Seeds.
Black and white or colour?
Colour.
Khartoum is the capital of what African country?
Not sure.
What city is known as the second capital of the UK?
Birmingham.
Right or left?
Right.
Which British actor had the star role in Queen and Slim?
Daniel Khalil.
What comedian is known for stand-up? The Pimp Chronicles.
Don't know.
TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
What European country has a population of 67 million?
France.
What is the capital city of Denmark?
Copenhagen.
Happiness or money?
Happiness.
Finish the sentence. The government is...
Full of shit.
Dubai is the capital of what country?
Saudi Arabia. No.
Economics or politics?
Politics.
You did really well, I think.
Yeah, you did.
You did really
You
well.
actually did. But can I be honest? I think these questions are easier than before.
I don't think so, you know.
No,
Serious?
yeah. Some of the questions in the past.
Wow, those weren't hard questions.
I feel like...
You know what? Okay, so what did I pass on? I passed on.
No, you did well. I think you did well.
Yeah.
Did you even score?
I will do after. But basically, yeah, you definitely did well. What do apples and ackee have in common? Both have seeds. Take that. I was gonna say both for fruits.
They're both fruits.
Yeah. But that's right too. That's right too. Khartoum is the capital of Sudan.
I was gonna say Cameroon, but then that would have been good. Glad I didn't say that.
What comedian is known for the Pimp Chronicles? Cat Williams.
Okay, yeah, Cat went in recently, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. And what European country, has a population of 67 million? The UK.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, closer to home than I thought. But France is close.
And I think the last one that you got wrong was Dubai is the capital of what country? It's not a capital.
It is the country.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Well done. I'm gonna give you the scores soon enough.
Thank you.
All right. So
So before you start, I'm sat here and I'm as a photographer, I'm looking at your lenses all out and everything with no covers on them.
Brent is coming for you.
I don't understand, Mr. Photographer. Do you realize that you're on screen? If I cover the lenses, what happens?
I'm talking about the ones that
ones that are being
yeah, those ones. I'm not talking about the ones, clearly not the ones on the camera.
This studio has an open door policy in it, so anybody could just walk in and sit on the couch. So I have to keep them ready.
yes. So yes, Mr. Campbell, can you get back to basically where did this all start?
So I've been taking pictures for years. I've been a photographer actively for 20 plus years. And it's weird because when I go back to the beginning of that whole journey and why I got into photography, because I didn't really want to talk to people. So, I'd go to family events and stuff and I had a legitimate excuse. So I'm taking pictures. Sorry.
That is so funny. So you didn't want to socialize.
Yeah. So I picked up my camera. And there were so many times at these events where, you get that uncle that wants to chat for 20 minutes, bend your ear. I was like, not having it. You know what I mean? So I would just take pictures. And I suppose that was my comfort zone. And then over the years, you know, I've always referred to myself as bloke with camera. And there were two seminal moments in that journey, two pictures that I took. One was of my two youngest children. And I took this picture about 20 years ago. And it's actually one of there are two pictures that I sell in my gallery in Brixton, which are completely non-protest related. And this is one of them. And it's just a picture of my two kids looking out the window from behind. And it's just such a pure image. It's just, it's peaceful, and it's like just kids being kids. Yeah. And that, when I took that picture, when I saw the responses that people made about it, it made me realize, well, maybe this is something I should consider. And then years later, 2017, there was another picture that I took in Cuba, and it was of a car just driving on Cuban streets. But the way it was captured really kind of allowed me to appreciate that, you know, you might actually be a little bit more skillful than you give yourself credit for. And then it was at that point where I stopped calling myself bloke with camera and the photographer.
Can I ask you a question? So prior to that, right, that moment, was photography what you did full time?
Not really. I did film. I did filmmaking. So I was a producer. I had, prior to that, produced This Morning, worked for BT Sports, Sky Movies, and then I went into the corporate environment and was making short form films for people like Santander, Nationwide, Sky, to name a few. So film was was my first love. I'd say that I was an accidental photographer. And weirdly, it was that moment. Let me just go back a bit, because at that time I was also, I was doing BTS, behind the scene photography. I was I had worked as a unit photographer for Channel 4. I even had an exhibition at the Saatchi. So this is stuff that was happening, but you know, photography paid the bills and stuff. But it was when I saw George Floyd being murdered that all of a sudden I got this crazy kind of purpose for the work that I was doing, and that really sparked the next chapter in my creative journey.
But how did, I guess, what happened with George Floyd make you say, okay, I'm going to use my camera to actually maybe be an outlet for myself, or actually bring about some change or document a story? Like, why did you think, okay, my camera, not going to do the movies or the short films, but photographs?
Okay, I suppose leading up to this moment, activism had been something that I'd been playing with. Okay. I'd put on a couple of events, ran a couple of campaigns years ago. One was called 1 Minute in May, where I was trying to get Premiership football clubs to all hold a minute's silence in honour of those who'd been killed from knife and gun crime. Yeah. I managed to get QPR, Charlton Athletic, Crystal Palace and Millwall to take part in that campaign, but then that fell down. It didn't quite work out. And then the next campaign that I was working on with my activism was called It's in Your Head. And I wanted to shine a spotlight on mental health within the black community. I put on 2 events and raised money for local mental health charities. So activism was always within me. When I saw the footage of George Floyd being murdered, when I saw that cop, his knee on George's head, and we heard his words, "I can't breathe," and we saw just the life ebb out of this person. I remember being at home and just feeling really sick, emotional, crying, and I was just asking, what is my response? What can I do? What should I do? And the universe said, you should record it, you know? And I took that to mean that, great, the way I feel, I need to capture my feelings on screen. So I rushed out. And I remember the first couple of demonstrations, and there was before I go into that, there was I got a text. So a guy who I would say was then my friend put something on his Facebook page, and it was all these people are going out talking about how they want to march for George Floyd. Don't they realise there's a pandemic on? It's so irresponsible. And I remember reading that and thinking, wow, racism for me was my pandemic. You know what I mean? And I sent back a message and I said, we all don't have the privilege to ignore what's going on at the moment. This is bigger.
Can I just ask a question? Sorry, what race was the person that said it?
It was a white guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just check it.
And what ensued after that was, he went on to say that, how dare you call me privileged, rare, rare, rare. But the point I was making was that I couldn't sit back and not do anything. I mean, I was so determined. I was so focused on what needed to happen. So I rushed out with my weapons and started to shoot. And I was angry. But then going to so many different demonstrations, interacting with different people and having the conversations I was having, I realized that, there was hurt, pain and anger at these demonstrations, but there was also love and hope, So, and look, I've got loads of friends to this day who are still stuck in pain. And I don't think that this project would have worked so well if I stayed in pain. I had to come out of that space. So the book's written in 3 chapters.
Okay.
Rage, words, and love. But to get to the love, I had to go through the rage. You know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of comfortable, uncomfortable conversations that I had, well, not just my white friends, but with my friends. I used to say that I would wear this suit to work, or I'd get up in the morning and put on the Happy Wayne suit and get into work, and you know what I mean, and just like laugh at your jokes. They're rubbish, but I gotta laugh at your jokes. And I'm saying and act that way. And then I just realized that I can't do that anymore. I have to be unapologetically me, to the best of my ability. I remember having a conversation with a friend and saying, when I go on holiday, I'm always looking at trying to find out a hotel that's got, a pool by the hotel, a 24-hour bar. And then I'm like, but I also need to know, what's their race relations policy like? What's going on?
You know what? And I feel like that's the thing. Like, for me, when I'm traveling, I always consider the country that I'm going to and what it's going to be like, and if they have a big, like, if they're racist or like, I hate microaggressions. I don't have patience for that kind of stuff. So I don't want to, why am I paying like money to go somewhere that's meant to kind of relax me and just bring me zen, and then go somewhere that's racist? It's like, it could be it's the worst thing. I'd rather stay here.
Thank you. And I was talking to friends about, if I go to a party or a wedding in the Cotswolds, man is looking to see if they're any But all of these little things, and my friends were like, I had no idea you do stuff like that. I mean, it's not the sort of stuff that you're gonna like be shouting out or like saying, oh, by the way, any other black people here? But it's just something that you go through. I mean,
were the majority of your friends white at that time?
No. I think what it was is that I've got friends from all areas, and if you're a friend, you're a friend. And I think it's important. For me, it felt important that I just needed to share with you. I didn't want to sit back with a guy who's supposed to be my friend and say, look, and not let them know, dude, I'm going through some stuff here, and you're gonna get it or you're not. It really is that simple. And I had people who I thought were friends who didn't get it, and I had people who I thought, just people I know who were like, dude, I saw what happened. What do you need? How can I help? What do I need to know? You know what I mean? So that was important, and that was necessary for me to just be able to have those conversations. But it all fed into why I needed to do my book.
celebration of
demonstration. You know, and one of the things that I was keen to do was to try and use art to express how we were feeling politically, socially, and it's weird because, you know, my gallery space in Brixton Village, same title as the book, A Celebration of Demonstration, has a load of beautiful protest photography. I'm gonna show you a couple of pictures from this so that you can get a sense of what the book is, what it looks like. And it was just me wanting to capture what Londoners were going through and how, we were dealing with the issues that had presented themselves to us. So these pictures for me were really, really important. And one of the things that I love about the space that I've got is that it works in conjunction with this thing I call global empathy. Global empathy is people come in, they pick up a piece of paper, they write a message, and they add it to the wall. So that is living, working, the voices of the people. And there must be at least 2,000 messages on the walls in different languages. And I just think that is powerful, you know. It's powerful, the fact that people, one of the things that I strongly feel is that people don't use their voices enough, you know. Where we are living in such polarizing times. Our politics are so divisive. You know, you don't have it because he's taken it. Yeah. You're rich because you're poor because they're rich. And it's you against you. Yeah. And I just think in the space where people come in and they write their messages and they share them, they add them to the wall, dude, it's powerful. You know? We're caught between, I'd argue that we're caught between fear and comfort. Don't go outside. There's muggers, there's burglars, there's anti-Semites, there's Islamists. Stay indoors. You got Deliveroo, you got that 50-inch TV, you got Netflix. I mean, so those are the paradigms which it feels to me that we're trapped between. I mean, if you want to be active, if you want to have a voice, you have to put your head above the parapet. You have to stand out. And that's dangerous in some circles. I mean, I got my mortgage. I can't afford to get caught up in this.
Your job.
I mean, so people choose to stay home or to not speak up or to live in that fear bubble.
How effective do you feel demonstrations are, though? Because obviously, like you mentioned before, in fact, I saw you in an interview where you mentioned basically the disparities between Black people in this country and other communities, and how we're disproportionately affected by different things, and how you don't necessarily see that changing like anytime soon. But are demonstrations for that cause? You know what I'm saying?
That sounded way too intelligent for me to have said that. I think the metric in which
Mr. Caught between fear and comfort.
I think the metric by which we measure demonstrations needs to shift a bit. We always look at why people demonstrate and what can be achieved by that demonstration. Like there needs to be an instant kind of measure to show what the change is.
Yeah, it has to be to show it was successful.
Yeah. So I think I like that.
Yep.
A bit more, yeah.
Perfect.
I like that.
Screenshot.
I think people should look at it in a more holistic way, perhaps.
Okay.
I'm a spiritual guy, and I believe that that there is a lot of energy in how we perceive protests.
Okay.
And I just don't think that you can look at it and say, politically, we going out week in, week out to scream and shout at the government, that's not going to achieve anything. I know about Just Stop Oil because of the stuff that I'd heard that they'd done. And there's all this talk about, they're just causing the disruption. Dude, if they hadn't caused those disruptions, I wouldn't have a clue who they were.
Yeah, facts.
I mean, so I think in raising awareness about certain things, I think it absolutely works. For example, after the whole Palestinian Israeli, I don't know if I want to call it conflict or a genocide, I was like, what is anti-Semitism? You know, and I'd heard that Jeremy Corbyn had been expelled from the Labour Party for being an anti-Semite, but you know, quietly to myself, because I had my suit on back then. You know what I mean? I was going, what is anti-Semitism? What is anti-Semitism? And then when this whole thing kicked off and we were seeing the images on screen of babies being killed and the violence that was happening in Palestine. Oh, by the way, my second book is coming out on the 7th of October and it will be on Palestine.
Oh, sick,
so I just want to throw that in there. I did a deep dive. You know, I was like, what is Zionism? What was the Nakba?
Yeah.
What is it to be an anti-Semite?
Yeah.
And if not for those protests, that's something that just wouldn't have happened. You know, and one of the things that was quite apparent to me is that there's alcohol down here. Didn't even see that. Sorry. One of the things that was quite apparent to me is that as it appears, is that the bar for racism is high. The bar for anti-Semitism,
I'm telling you,
is so
I'm
low.
telling you, yep. Facts.
You know, and it was interesting having the gallery and having people come into the space and see the pictures, and of course we have these conversations on a daily basis. I'm talking to people about not just the work, but you know, state of the world, etc., etc. And the opinions and the views that people have are really, they're inspirational.
Yeah.
And they feel so necessary. And it just feels like we just need to talk more, you know? You can't resolve a situation if you're not willing to have a conversation about it. It just doesn't work.
And you feel like demonstrations is basically one of the best ways to facilitate that conversation?
I think demonstrations unite people.
Okay.
You know, when you get 1 million plus people all marching in unison, and let's bear in mind, it's also important to take into consideration the populist opinion of what demonstrations represent. If we listen to Suala Braverman saying that the Palestinian demonstrations were all hate marches, you know, I think some people will see that and think these are hate marches.
Yeah.
Why? Because a prominent MP has said that. I remember going along to some of the COVID anti-vaxxer or freedom demonstrations, which were happening in London. And you would see, I mean, there were hundreds of thousands of people that appeared. I mean, like scores of people marching through the streets of London. I remember one day going on one of these demonstrations and getting home thinking, I'm going to watch the news and see myself on the news or see if I know anybody that's on the news. Not a peep.
Wow.
It wasn't a mention at all, you know what I mean? And it made me realise that, you know, news, terrestrial news can be so selective.
Yeah.
Can be really, really selective. You know, and they talk about how the youth of today, they look to different sources to get their news. And I can see why. You know, I'm not saying that anything that you see on social media is newsworthy. I think we've seen that in the last couple of weeks with the demonstrations that have been happening on the streets of England, where it went out that the perpetrator of the kill of those 3 girls was a Muslim asylum seeker. You know, so I think it's about being more critical about how you think about the information that you put in your body. You know.
I was going to ask you, yeah, like when you actually leave your house, you go out there with the aim to obviously document everything that you're seeing. Do you go with a particular agenda? Do you go with like, okay, cool, this is my aim and objective today, and I hope I can capture this loosely anyway?
When I'm taking, when I'm out shooting, I have rules.
Okay.
And my rules are: you check your emotions at the door, you
Okay.
check your politics at the door, and you try and take the best picture you can.
Okay.
And that mantra was tested recently. I want to say recently, the last few months. Some woman came into the gallery, and she was an Israeli woman, and we had a conversation, and she invited me to a pro-Israeli demonstration, and I remember going along. And prior to that, the space that I had in Brixton Village, I said I wanted it to be a safe space for all protests.
Yeah.
You know, I want people to be able to come down and feel that they could kind of really interact with what was happening, because it's a safe space for all protests.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that a safe space for all protests cannot exist. You have to choose a side.
You have to pick a side.
You have to choose a side.
Wow.
You know, and going to this demonstration was the visual kind of, and gave me the visual understanding of what that actually meant. You know, I remember turning up. My guide, excuse me, she met me there, and she said, "I'm gonna point out blah blah blah, and then you can film it." There was a stage, and there was some speakers. Everyone was wearing these badges with 100 written on them, and that was 100 days since the 7th of October.
Okay.
And some people wearing "Bring Home the Hostages" T-shirts, and they were all, some were holding placards, "I stand with Israel." So I went in and, you know, was asking people if I can take their pictures, and people were all really friendly. "Of course you can take the picture." "Sorry, can I get past?" "Oh, of course you can get past." "Sorry, so you've just dropped something." So everyone was really friendly.
Yeah.
And then the speakers came on, and, you know, 7th of October, they killed our women, they raped our women, they took our friends hostages. Clap. And I'm snapping away. And then the second speaker would come on, 7th of October, and pretty much the same. And the third speaker, pretty much the same. And I've got my mindset here as just be professional, be impartial, and just take pictures.
Yeah.
And then I felt uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable, and it was rare for me to go to a demonstration and feel uncomfortable. You know, so I left, took some pictures, which I did share with the person who invited me. They liked the pictures, but for me, it felt like a line had been drawn for me. You know, I didn't agree with I don't agree with the politics of the Israeli state. I look at what is happening and continues to unfold in Gaza and that region, and I stand on the side of the international human courts, who've said that a genocide is currently happening in that region.
So you kind of feel, correct me if I'm wrong, that by taking pictures, by documenting the events, the emotions of people at certain demonstrations, you're in some way kind of adding validity to that particular demonstration?
No, I wouldn't.
The reason why I'm saying that is because obviously you felt uncomfortable being at the pro-Israeli one, and I'm assuming you wouldn't necessarily want to put out those images to the public. I'm assuming.
I was able to separate my comfort to the pictures.
Okay.
They were good pictures.
Yeah.
So, you know, my internal turmoil was separate to what I actually were able to capture. That's a difficult question to answer, and it's a difficult question because is so subjective, and one man's food is another man's poison. Yeah. I've been fortunate enough to be able to capture good pictures, and fortunate enough that some people like them. So I try and do that. I've been working on how I like my pictures to look. I've been working on what I feel tells a good story. And I think that's what it is for me. And I don't want it to be moved beyond, I'm just a storyteller. I'm going to capture what is put in front of me, and I'm going to interpret it as best I can. There's a picture that I took, which is in my gallery, which is hanging up, and took it a couple of months ago. And it's this woman, and she stood on top of, I don't know, a post box, I think. And you got the sky in the background, and then she's draped in this massive Palestinian flag. And she's holding her phone like that, and she's got her thumb up, she's doing this selfie. And it looks great. And what I love about the picture is that it's open to interpretation. Is she taking a selfie, or is she pointing a rifle? You know? And when I point it out to people, they go, rah, oh my days, I didn't, you know. And that's what for good photography, not to suggest that my photography is good, but that's what photography can do. It can allow you to just fall into an image and really get absorbed by by the messaging of it.
So you said that you had certain rules that you abided by, leave your politics, emotions behind. But after that particular demonstration, you had to change your rules?
I felt uncomfortable. Maybe I should say, politics, emotions, and discomfort. I don't know. It was, I try to be as impartial as I can. I try to approach any situation, be it a pro-Israeli, a far right, a demonstration about Chinese independence, whatever. I just try to approach it with total impartiality. And 9 times out of 10 it works. But I know I've taken pictures in situations where I've welled up because I've been so overwhelmed emotionally. You know, I know I've been in places where I'm taking pictures and I've had to stop and just clap because something's gone on. I'm thinking, damn man, that's incredible. You know, so as best you can, you want to keep that professional hat on and just snap. But dude, man, this is such an emotive and an emotional environment to work in.
Do you feel like the best stories have to have some of that impartiality?
The best stories, do they need to have impartiality? No, because I reckon emotion is such a powerful force. So there's times when, like I said, when I first started this book, it was about that anger. So I went into that Hulk smash. That's how I went into it, and I took some. I took some really, really great shots. But then, visual activism is a calling, and I say that because during this process, I did a lot of illustrations as well that are in the book, but during this process, I felt and I still feel that what is it that Maya Angelou says, when you walk into a room, know that you've got 4 generations of ancestors walking in there with you. I feel that. I feel that this creative path that I'm on has been inspired by those who have come before me, and those who are there supporting me, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, my ancestors. It feels as if this is as part of their journey as it is my journey.
And I guess with that being said, you feel obviously protected when things can get, I don't know, hectic in certain demonstrations.
But I mean, don't be stupid.
Of course. I only say that just to ask, like, has there been those situations where it's like, cool, I need to now focus on me, put the camera back in the bag, and just get out of it?
I think there's been many times where I'm like, I ain't taking my camera out just yet. Okay. I ain't taking my camera out yet. You need to move. But I think it's a lot of common sense that goes with that. I mean, I remember years ago. Oh God, what year were the riots? When was it? Mark Duggan? When
2011?
Was that 2011? Yeah. So, wow, yeah. 'Cause that would. I remember driving home. I used to live in Southeast London. I remember driving home, and as I was driving, passing the JD Sport, I just see bare people running out with shoeboxes. I'm thinking, what's going on? So I got home and I said to my wife, there's craziness happening, rare. And she goes, yeah, have you not heard the news? I said, no. So then I picked up my camera. And I was a fledgling photographer back then. And I said, I'm going actually, be careful. And I rushed down to the town centre, and there were just bare young people with balaclavas on. There was an Asda, an Argos, and they'd ripped up the security blinds, and people were going in and taking stuff. And we just kept seeing police vans drive past, but no one's stopping. And we're thinking, what's going on? Why aren't the police stopping? So an hour had passed, and I've got my camera in my bag. I forgot, I'm not taking out my camera. And then 2 or 3 police vans came, and they stopped, and they formed this cordon around Argos. And they were waiting for people to come out. They weren't arresting anybody, but they were licking the blood out of people as they left. Yeah. Wow. And I thought, right, let me take my camera out. Because I saw a guy jump out of his car with a big camera, and he started filming before the police got there. About 4 youths jumped him, punched him, took his camera. Wow. And I thought, keep your camera in your bag. And when the police got there, then I took the camera and I started shooting. And when I got home, I was like, your focus was off, your depth of field was terrible, your ISO was, what, dude, come on. The pictures were terrible, it was so bad.
But I can imagine in that kind of situation though, because it's very like high energy and like you said, you weren't prepared.
Yeah.
And you were waiting for the right moment, so yeah. There
is, and there has been times at recent demonstrations where, you might see somebody's getting arrested, and then there might be, 50 meters to your left, and you have to run over there quickly to try and get good shots, and then you're thinking, you're in the way. You're just trying to move around to get the best shot you can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
I know it must be like extremely difficult to even answer this question, but what's like maybe a couple pictures in there that really touch you, and like, what's the story behind it?
Okay, there's one picture in the book, and I call it Afro activism. Shall I show you?
Yes, please.
And before I show it, I honestly don't think that I've not seen a picture that says protest, for me, that is as powerful as this. And I know that I took the picture, but I just think that this picture just says protest. It says demonstrate. This woman, I saw her outside the American Embassy. I was trying to get it right I saw her outside the American Embassy in Nine Elms, and I looked at her and I just waved my camera, and she nodded, and then I snapped away. We had about 15 seconds, and when I got home and I saw this shot, the way how she's got this perfect Angela Davis afro, you have these guys flanking her so that she's the center of the picture. She has a mask on, but the sign reads, "I refuse to be silent." And let's face it, racism is small dick energy. It's all things to all men. I love it. I just think the composition, her eyes, the messaging, it's a powerful image. So that's one of my favorite images.
You said you waved your camera before you took the picture. You had to ask for consent?
No, I just figured that if she knew I was taking a picture of her, she'd give me a better pose. I wanted her to look directly at me. And in her looking directly at me, I captured the eyes. And that was important. You know, there are, I'm going to flick to a couple of other pictures. There's a lot of stuff in here which was random. When I say random, that I was just able to capture. There's this picture here, which has a powerful story behind it.
How old are your children?
Sorry?
How old are your children?
My youngest is 22. My oldest is 32. Okay. So, yeah, I've been doing this for a hot minute. This picture here. Now, this is a picture of Chris Campbell shot and killed a couple of years ago in Streatham by armed police, and I went along to a demonstration which was happening outside New Scotland Yard, and Chris Cabba's parents were there, so I went along and I saw Chris. This is Chris Cabba's mother, and she had an entourage around her, and I didn't want to be too intrusive, so I stuck a long lens on, and when I was taking this sequence of pictures, there was this guy that was with her, and he had this massive hood on, and he didn't want. It's like he didn't want to be seen, so his eyes were down, and you know what I mean. And it's only when I got home and I was looking at the picture, my nephew came to me and he said, "Uncle, do you know who that is?" And I said, "Yeah, that's Chris Cabba's mother." He said, No, the guy." I said, "No." He said, "That's Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He plays for Manchester United." So this picture has Chris Cabba's mother, a famous footballer, and Chris Cabba, all together in this triangle with justice for Chris at the top. So it was being able to capture all of these elements in a single shot. And I love that photography can allow you to tell a story that has so much depth and so much meaning. So this is another shot that I really, really like. I think it might work better when you explain exactly what's going on. But, you know, context is always key. So that's, and I'm just going to show one more. Do I have time to show one more?
Yeah.
Then I've just seen another one. I'm seeing all of these. I'm seeing all of these amazing shots, and which have. Okay. I love this shot as well. You know.
Yeah, I love that.
This woman was just sat on a bridge. This was Vauxhall. And I just love the nonchalant look on her face. I mean, it's like, yeah. It's just how it is. You know, it's a powerful, powerful image. So the book has captured a kind of the sense and feeling of a moment, you know. And you know, some of these images will definitely outlive us all. You know, contemporary activism, visual activism is definitely alive and kicking.
It's powerful, man.
Thank you.
Did I just see a picture with colour in it as you were flicking through?
There is a couple pictures that have a sliver of colour.
All right. Choice behind that?
I just wanted to be different. I just wanted to create a document which, like, for example, I just wanted to be different. I think my first vocation was design. I studied design at uni, weirdly, in Falmouth in Cornwall. God, I was the only black in the village. So I wanted to just really focus. I wanted the book to look pretty. I wanted the book to kind of show the photography, but also kind of, you know, I wanted it to look good. I wanted it to be designed well. So there are little things that I put in there that I felt would help push that along. So yeah, another great picture. I love that. And the messaging that you get at these demonstrations is so powerful, you know.
Would you say that the George Floyd movement was your awakening?
It was, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. If I took it personally. I think a lot of people did. it's weird because when you look at what's happened recently, is it Sonia Massey?
Yes. Yeah.
Which is just as horrific and horrendous a crime. And, you know, but the response here has been nowhere near as vocal or as large as it was for George Floyd, you know. So, you know, I've often wondered why that is, you know. Bearing in mind when George Floyd was murdered, we were sat in a bubble. We were being told to stay home, protect the NHS.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the conditions were very different back then. So had we not been in lockdown,
Would it have been like
would it
now?
have? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and these are questions. So look, everything happens for a reason, you know. And at that time, there was a lot of awareness brought to a lot of people who were unaware, if you like, you know. And lockdown did that for a lot of people.
Where can people get this wonderful book?
This wonderful book can be purchased in my gallery, which is Unit 22A, Market Row, Brixton Village.
Cool.
The gallery is open 6 days a week between Tuesday and Sunday from 12 noon to 6 p.m.
Six.
How much?
The book is £50, and you can feel it. This is a weighty book. This is history, man. It's I'd say the book is worth it.
I
twice the
want
price.
that one, so I'll give you the £50 before you leave.
Yeah.
I want that one. See, you brought that.
Yeah.
I want to leave that right here. I don't know when next I'm going to be in Brixton, did it? So I'll give you the 50 before you leave. Thank you very much.
Yes. Obviously, because of time, we have to kind of wrap up soon. But I did want to ask a couple questions about like mental health and stuff. Because I remember earlier you said that you did some activism in that area.
Yes.
And also about physical health. So I'm aware, obviously, you had surgery as well.
Yes.
Do you mind talking on that?
No. So, wow, this is an interesting segue, which links back to the book. 2019, my brother came to me, and he was like, "You need to go and get your prostate checked." And I said, "Why?" And he says, "Because I've been and I've got cancer." Wow. And I was like, "Right, okay." So I went and had a PSA test, which is a blood test. And it kind of gives an indication if your PSA levels are high, it says that it shows that there may be a chance that there may be something wrong. So I went along, had the test, and my PSA levels were high. So my doctor suggested that I go and have a MRI, have a scan. Cool. So I went, I had a scan, and they said that they found abnormalities in the scan, and I would need to come back and have a biopsy. So I went back to the hospital, had a biopsy, and sure as night follows day, I had prostate cancer. Wow. So my brother had prostate cancer, I had prostate cancer. But we approached it differently. My brother's like, "Okay, I got prostate cancer. All right, you're the professionals, what do I need to do?" And I said, "You need to have your prostate removed." So, all right, come we move? Yeah. You know what I mean? He went and had his prostate taken out. So I went to them and said, "All right, Mr. Campbell, you got prostate cancer." I said, "What do we need to do?" They said, "We need to take your prostate out." I went, "Not quite." And I said, what do you mean? I said, "You know what? I'm a ninja. I'm going to fight this with diet." Right. That's what I said. So they went, "You need to have your prostate removed." I said, "Yeah, you just want to dig into my organs." Yeah. So I went home. I broke the news to my family. I got my my Whole Foods subscription up, and I changed my diet. I gave up sugar, I gave up alcohol, I gave up smoking, I gave up all my bad habits, and I focused on just having this clean, healthy lifestyle because I was a ninja. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So first month, man's eating quinoa, man's eating couscous, and you know what I mean, and there's green
grain.
stuff. I'm like, all of this stuff. Man's eating kale. Hate kale, you know.
So do I.
Man's eating kale, like, this is lovely, yeah. Doing all of that. I'm missing donuts. Like crazy. The alcohol and cigarette craving went relatively quickly. I was like, it was the sugar craving. Sugar craving's a serious thing because we all.
Sugar's like crack though.
Hey, it
sugar
is.
is crack,
It's
yeah.
like we focus on, well, oh, you're addicted to alcohol. That's so difficult. AA, blah blah blah. Sugar is. You're right. It's like it is the crack of addictions. It really is. So I'm going through all of this. First month I'm good. Second month I'm good. I'm a ninja because I'm in. Third month I'm still a ninja. Man's kung fu fighting this disease, kicking it, and all of that. Fourth month I'm a ninja. Fifth month, man invites me to a birthday party, but it's just birthday cake. Just a little bit, innit? Yeah. So man's eating a little bit of birthday cake. You know what I mean? And then 6th month, birthday cake. Whoa, it's just a top one, just a little toddy in. I'll have a little toddy. Man's like a little toddy. And then before I know it, I'm back. I've gone back to my ways because it's so hard. Yeah. And I thought I was a ninja, but hey, I was not a ninja. I was a ninja turtle, if anything. And I was gone back to my old ways. And this was 2019. So then 2023, I finally have surgery. But what was happening in the years before that, I was using my book as a distraction. This was the biggest distraction because I had important stuff to do. Yeah, I mean, but you got cancer. Yeah, but I've got important stuff to do. I'm bringing out this book, which is important. Yeah, but you got cancer. Yeah, but if I can bring this book out, then people will realize that, yeah, but you got cancer. Yeah, so I was creating excuses for why I wasn't willing to deal. There's a chapter in the back of the book where I talk about how George Floyd died to save my life. And the reason why I was doing this is because I chose masculinity over health. That's the long and short. I chose masculinity over health. You know, there were stories around if you have your prostate removed, you ain't never going to have sex again. If you have your prostate removed, you wear nappies for the rest of your life. If you have your prostate removed, you lose your libido. Yeah. And I sucked into all of this. And it's because there wasn't any culturally sensitive information out there for me to look at and say, you know what, I can actually go to this site and find out more about how cancer in black men is, you know, how it can be dealt with. You're twice as likely, 1 in 8 white men will get prostate cancer. 1 in 4 black men will get prostate cancer. So you're twice as likely as a black male to get prostate cancer. So my whole thing is, you know, to start getting yourself checked when you touch the 40s. You know what I mean? So and that's so important. But when I was mentioning about there being a lack of culturally sensitive material out there, information, it really is. But then you ask yourself, where would you put this information? I remember my brother telling me that he would watch like Match of the Day, not the Sky equivalent, the Sports Report or whatever on Sky News and Sky Sports, and the presenters would have the prostate cancer thing. And for years, it was just like, what is that? Because you'd see it and be like, what is that? Because they would never be like, oh, this show, there's a segment we're going to be talking about prostate cancer. They would just wear the things. And then I'd see that and I'd be like, what's that? Why they got that Burning Man thing on their on their lapels? It doesn't make any sense. So it's just about creating spaces where people can find out more about prostate cancer and cancers generally. My brother is now the CEO of a charity called Cancer Black Care, which focuses and brings awareness to black cancers. Another point to add in, when my brother had prostate cancer and I had prostate cancer, my sister also had breast cancer. So we had 3 family members. I had 2 siblings, all 3 of us at the same time going through cancer. My 2 siblings dealing with their cancer and me kissing my teeth, talking rubbish about how I'm a ninja. You know what I'm saying? But what that does is it showed me that people deal in very different ways. In really different ways. You know, so I can look back on that, and I've done talks. I do talks with my brother to raise awareness around prostate cancer, the pros and the cons, and that's been really, really helpful. It's been my catharsis. It's been something that I get a lot of pleasure and satisfaction out of doing. You know, my whole life feels like it revolves around some form of activism, be it my creativity, be it my personal journeys with the demons and battles that I've had to go through. And I think it's also about allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to sit there and say stuff like, yeah, you know what, if I'm going out on a heavy night, yeah, I might have to wear a pad. You know what I'm saying? But being comfortable with sharing that information, you know, talking about whether or not you are able to have erections or not. And I think that there's such a stigma around the whole understanding of our bodies. We were I was brought up in an environment where, you know, I mean, you know, we don't air our problems. We don't share them with people. Keep it to yourself. Man up, man. Fix up. So that is a toxic kind of environment to be brought up in. And it's and those toxic ways, I think they kind of come back to bite you. So I tell my kids when my kids were young, you know, cry, get it out. You know what I mean? You know, if there's stuff that you're going through, you have to deal with it. We can't. And I know what it feels like to be in a situation where, you know, I'm choosing masculinity over health.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to really be an emotional guy, but feel that you can't cry and express that emotion because it's not seen as a thing that, you know, black males do.
Yeah.
You know, so there are a lot of stigmas that we need to deal with, and you know, I think, but we're choosing ways that we can fight and push through that.
Yeah, I think that's a positive way to kind of wrap up, man. With you saying that, I guess we are seeing that and we are finding ways. Because I'll be honest with you, yeah, and these guys will probably say it, I'm one of those people who's basically stuck in that toxic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it was just yesterday I was talking about Brent. You know what I'm saying? But when I think about it, has it done me any good? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
in some areas, I think it has. But in some areas, it's like, you know that you just hold on to certain things and life would be better if, for example, you felt like you were comfortable to have that sort of outlet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I definitely hear what you're saying. And it's kind of not surprising, but it's interesting to, obviously, to hear from you, because obviously when you're getting older, it's still something that's still in our minds. It's not like you get to like 30 and it's like, cool, you kind of drop that idea. But even later in life, we're still kind of battling with that same, you know what I mean, those ideas.
And you know what? I think the first step is recognizing, being aware of it. Look, in my gallery, because we have these 1,000 messages, people come in. Some woman came in on Friday. I was just looking up and she asked if she'd come in. So she came. She was from Atlanta. She was with her daughter. And she came in. I showed her some pictures and I told her about global empathy and what it means. And she just started crying. She just burst into tears. And it wouldn't be the first time someone's done that. And then she just looked at me and she just said, what you're doing is great. Please don't stop. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then she starts crying. And then all of a sudden, I just feel this wave hit me. And then I start crying. And then and there's all bogey and tears everywhere. And we just cuddle. And it's beautiful. The fact that I feel that I don't have to justify my emotions anymore. I don't have to justify how I feel if I feel sad. Yeah. And they always seem to feel like I had to qualify my sadness. You are feeling sad because, why are you feeling sad? Rare. I'm crying. Why are you crying? I'm just crying because I'm crying. Because it needs to come out, all right? Yeah. It's as simple as that. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I love it.
It's being human.
It is being human.
Love that for you, lot.
We always ask our guests a couple questions before they go, right?
Okay.
So I want to ask you, tell us something people are usually surprised to learn about you.
Rotted. You should have given me some time to prep for this. That people are surprised to learn about me.
Yeah.
God. Okay, I don't share a lot of stuff about what I've done. So, like, not many people know that I had an exhibition at the Saatchi Gallery.
I was there actually.
Sorry?
Nothing else. After I was there, I was not there.
Just Brent being Brent.
Not many people know that I have played a solo at the Royal Albert Hall.
All right, is that the percussion thing
Yeah,
that you're talking about?
it's
What
percussion.
instrument?
Percussion, congas. Congas. Not. What else? I'm trying to think. What those big things that nobody does that I keep to myself. That's all I can think of for the moment. But those two are.
Yeah, that's good, man. Yeah. That's good. All right, and the other question, what would you say is your biggest life lesson?
Biggest life lesson. Wow. I don't know. I was going to say probably getting divorced. It taught me a lot.
Brent, what?
What happened, man?
It taught me a lot. I learned a lot about myself. She left me, so I. Yeah, man. Do you want to play that? Do that again?
Oh, because she left you.
Yeah,
Dude,
sometimes
man.
you have to leave toxic situations, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Hurt people. Hurt people.
this is it.
So yeah. So
What's that one?
Don't mind me, I'm just a fly on the wall. Really. It's not my moment.
no. Yeah, that I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot about myself.
Was that during your awakening?
Was that during?
Your awakening. She didn't like how black you became.
This guy.
No, that's just a question to be honest. Two persons. All right.
I learned a lot, and I think it made me a better person. I'm hoping that it's made me a better person.
Yeah.
It better. I'm joking.
Everyone's hating in here, isn't it?
I'm joking. I told you it's not a moment. Sorry.
I'm going to give you another one, which isn't relationship related. So, what was the question again? What is the
Biggest life lesson?
biggest life lesson? Learning to accept help, and not trying to do it all myself.
Yeah.
I got huge issues with saying help me. And I think that happens when you can do a lot of stuff. Like, I taught myself photography, I taught myself filmmaking, script write. I wanted to edit. I thought, well, just teach yourself. I want to do this, just teach yourself. So, I creatively, I teach myself a lot of things. So I don't have to rely on other people.
Yeah.
And there comes a time when you have to let people in.
Hear that, Brent?
Yeah. That's a salient point. Yeah.
All right, beautiful. One last question, in fact, right? We asked our guests to answer a question that was left by the previous guest. And we also asked them to leave a question for the next guest.
Right.
So the previous guest said, what one thing did your parents teach you that you're enforcing with your kids?
That I have?
That you're enforcing and trying to instill into your kids? One thing that your parents taught you.
Okay. Wow. I have gone blank.
A picture right now would tell 1,000 words.
Yeah, I have gone blank. What did I guess the week before? What was his question? Did you ask for 2 questions? Damn, no, I
Can't think of something.
can't think of a thing.
Do you feel like, I guess this is my follow-up question. Do you feel like when you became a parent, it was just all you just figuring things out yourself and kind of just...
I was scared.
Okay.
I was scared and didn't know what to do and didn't feel like, especially with the first 2, I didn't have a roadmap, didn't have a plan. It's just one day at a time. One day turned into a week, turned into a month, turned into a year. You know, and then before you know it, you're doing it.
Yeah, for real.
And that was powerful. That was, you know, when you take the time to stop and look back and be like, rah, I've actually managed to get this far. That's a powerful thing. So yeah.
Thank you for that. And also, what question would you like to leave for the next guest?
What?
And we don't know who
What lessons did your parents give you?
Because you couldn't answer it. When did I have kids? Then what?
Okay. All right. And question I want to ask for the next guest is: if you could go back and have a conversation with yourself 20 years earlier, what advice would you give yourself?
For some of our guests, they might be having conversations with babies.
Okay. If you could have a conversation with a 10-year-old yourself, a 10-year-old you, what advice would you give yourself?
Okay.
All right, 2 last things. That T-shirt, that's merchandise, right?
Yes.
Where can we get that?
Yeah.
Oh, the T-shirt. You have to mind that I've got green juice spilled all over it. From the shop. Again, all of the merch can be got from the gallery in Brixton Village, Market Road, Unit 22A, Celebration of Demonstration, as well as T-shirts and books. We do postcards and prints.
All right.
We will be doing tote bags and calendars. So the range will be growing, as well as I said, the new book. The new book comes out on the 7th of October, and that will be on Palestine. So Celebration of Demonstration as a range of products will be growing. We will be bringing out another book after Palestine on the far right and the Congo. So there's lots in the pipeline. But in order for that to happen, back to the question earlier about having to allow myself to ask for help, you know, I think this next phase of the process is about how I'm able to use the help of the people who are around me.
Thank you very much, man, for coming.
Thank you.
We've got an amazing community, man. So I do want to big up somebody by the name of Fernand. He first brought you to our attention many months back, and also I want to big up Daryl as well. Obviously, that's when we actually met you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Big up the T-Day community, and once again, thank you for coming, man.
No,
really
thank you for
appreciate
having me. I really, really enjoyed this.
Brilliant,
I was all
brilliant.
panicking and everything.
Why? That was really insightful.
Thank you.
Man. Yeah, man.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I always whenever I have to give talks, I'm off the cuff. So, you know, sometimes people say, "Yeah, you just write some notes down and stuff." I'm like, dude, if you don't know it, you don't know it. So yeah. So
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Brent. Let's go into the reaction.
Is this what you do, mate?
That's what you
You
did.
got one in there? Cool.
Yeah, just through that door.
Hey guys, I'm a long time listener and been meaning to ask this for a while now. I'm actually listening live as I type this. I'm 25. When I went to uni, I met a girl in my first year, and when I met her, I had feelings for her instantly. At the time we first met, she was in a relationship and I was in and out of an ongoing situationship of that time. We were both otherwise engaged romantically with other people outside of the city that we went to university in. We were in a larger group of friends and the whole group would spend a lot of time together, but during this, me and her were always much closer. Nothing happened between us at the time, although we basically lived together in the same uni room for months. Although my room was only 2 floors below, I have an immense amount of respect for her. She's hilarious, beautiful, intelligent woman, and I think I'm in love with her. We always speak for hours on end with ease. Time flies past when we're speaking, and any time anything ever happens, I can't wait to speak to her about it. We had been intimate at some point later during university, but after that happened, I tried to have a conversation with her about it, which went worse than I could have imagined. I asked her if she thought of us being together had ever crossed her mind, but she said no. I had no idea what to say after that, and I can't lie, that hurt quite a bit. It felt like I was going crazy if I could be feeling such strong feelings for them not to be reciprocated. That was probably 2-3 years ago. Since then, around half a year to a year ago, we've started speaking again. The same amount as when we first met, everything feels amazing. I feel like an excited puppy when I speak to her. We can talk about absolutely everything, serious topics, funny, lighthearted, etc. Only thing we've never spoken about is our relationship with each other or any other people. I'd say we've been speaking for about 2 to 3 hours per night, 4 times a week on average. Around a month and a half ago, she went to an event and I met her after and we went for food. Then I dropped her off after. After I dropped her off, I left to start driving home, but then had to double back to her to try and profess my feelings. She lives too far away for me to just go all the way there and not say anything. She lives in South and I live in Northwest. When I called her back out, we started speaking in the car again. The long story short, I tried to make a move, but she said she's actually currently seeing someone and my timing is terrible and kissed me on the cheek. And since then, we've been speaking even more and more. Then after that, this might be petty, but I had a competition that I was performing at and I invited both her and another girl I was speaking to. If I'm being completely real, I think I did that to try and protect my ego and not look like a side man that doesn't get girls to her. Once again, we haven't spoken about any of this. I think at this point, I either need to never speak to her ever again to protect my own feelings or try to speak to her about us. But if she insinuates again that I'm making it up, the idea that we could potentially be together in my head, then I don't know if my ego would be able to take it. I didn't believe her when she said the first time. She's 2 years older than me. I feel like that might be the reason why she said this. Guys, I'm in the mud. I spend most of my days overthinking about this too. I want us both to be happy and I believe that would happen with us together. I'm just asking for a friend though, so what should my friend do?
You go first.
Okay, I think she's kind of let you know her stance. I mean, you've romanticized whatever it is in your head because you feel very immense, strong feelings for her. But she clearly only sees you as a friend. So she has no problem speaking with you for hours on end or spending time with you and stuff. But that's all it is for her. I think she's made it clear because it's happened twice and both times she's kind of rejected your advances. So I don't think it's a case of you having to have another conversation. I think you just need to come to terms with you don't want the same thing and keep it moving. If you don't feel like you can maintain a friendship with her without your feelings growing, then just cut it off because you're only doing yourself a disservice and you're only hurting yourself in the long run because she's very okay with just being your friend and having you around in that capacity, but you clearly want more and she doesn't. That's what I think.
So you don't think it's maybe a timing issue? Or you don't think she's being genuine about the timing thing? Or she's seeing this person?
Because even if it's a timing issue, what does that mean? So you're going to sit around and wait for another window of opportunity? What if that doesn't come? That's why for me, don't waste your time. Like, it's live your life, keep it moving, and if it's meant to happen, it will come back full circle. But don't hold on to that as I'm just going to wait for her situation to, like, fumble so I can have another chance. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that the timing issue isn't genuine, but I think it's irrelevant.
I think you're right, man.
Because you have strong feelings for her. You're overthinking this thing. This thing is clearly consuming you. But I don't think there's any point in having another conversation to say what?
Yeah.
You've asked her twice. You asked her the first time years ago. She said, no, cool. You've circled back. Things are exactly how they were before. You've asked her again more recently. She still said no. So are you going to ask her a third time? What's the point?
Would you go as far as saying she's kind of leading him on?
No, because she has no issues with just being your friend.
But during that friendship, especially the first time, they were intimate as well, right?
Right, and it only happened once and it never happened again after
Okay,
that.
cool.
And he tried to bring it up in convo and she shut it down.
It's pretty clear, isn't it?
This is what I'm saying. You're leading with your emotions. And what you're doing is you're clinging on to hope because you're hoping that she'll come around.
Yeah.
But she's made it clear. So to save yourself. Because in the long run, your feelings are not going to wither away. The more time you spend speaking to her, all of that stuff, it's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And you're only going to be hurting yourself in the long run.
True. I agree with you, man.
Yeah.
I agree with
That's
you.
just what I think anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and I think you're right, Gina, as always.
Shock horror, not as always.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's go into the reaction.
There we go. All right.
All right, people, welcome to the reaction. We're drawing near to the end of this Olympics, isn't it? I think it ends on Sunday. Just wanted to mention that Katarina Johnson-Thompson, she holds the overnight lead in the heptathlon, but faces challenges from Nafi Thiam and Anna Hall. Team GB athletes, including Dina Asher-Smith, big her up, and Zarnell Hughes, are going to be competing in the 4x100 finals as well. Cyclist Jack Carlin aims to upgrade his Tokyo bronze in the men's sprint. Grace Reed, Yasmin Harper, they're going to be contesting the women's 3 meters springboard final. And of course, the US remains the favourite to top the medal table, although China is posing some strong competition. Did you get involved in the back and forth? Well, not back and forth. People kind of were praising the Nigerian Irish girl athlete.
She's pretty.
Yeah.
Very pretty girl.
I saw people just talking online about it. I was like, okay, cool. Is she still in the competition?
I don't have a clue. I haven't really been keeping up with the Olympics, I'm not going to lie to you. So I don't really know what's going on.
I don't know what it is with this Olympics, but I've not watched anything live.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's because there's other things going on.
Yeah.
You know, you have to basically choose to seek it out, right?
It wasn't like that before. Before, I just felt like it's there. You know, you put TV on, it's just there. It seemed more, I don't know, more in people's faces before. Speaking about that though, obviously, I would say, the most, the thing that draws the most attention is probably like, the 100 meters, the 200 meters. And
That's like
those
are like the main
things, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Noah Lyles, who's the 100 meters Olympic champion, right? He tested positive for COVID on Tuesday morning, but he still competed in the 200 meter final, winning bronze. Yeah, but apparently he's going to be withdrawing from the 4x100 meter relay. So yeah, he revealed that he experienced symptoms such as chills, aches, sore throat, and coughing throughout the night. Despite the challenges, he expressed pride in his performance and confirmed that he will not participate in the 4x100 meter relay today. Laos aimed to achieve a rare treble of 100 meters, 200 meters, and 4x100 meter golds, but was unable to catch the Botswana runner Tebogo in the 200 meter final. Tebogo became the first African to win the Olympic 200 meter title, setting an African record and claiming Botswana's first Olympic gold medal. Big him up, man. Big him up. Brent, can we get some horns? Big him up, man. So is this guy trying to use COVID as a reason for why he lost to an African? Is this what he's trying? I hope not.
They're both African?
All right, then.
Can you imagine? Look at this guy.
You know what I'm trying to say.
God damn it.
Some Americans don't see themselves as Africans, so, you never know. But
Jinan just says it's literally on BBC 1 and 2.
what happened?
I play it all day.
All right.
As I say,
Yeah, but
you just
maybe
need
it's my
to...
bad,
you
yeah.
No,
just
but
need
you
to
know what?
seek
Let
it.
me be honest. I don't even watch TV like that, so that's probably what it is.
that's true.
So that's why I don't have. It's not like before. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. All right. That is pretty much it for the reaction, man. But let's go into our outro. All right, people. Thank you for tuning in today, man. It was a very good show today. Had an amazing guest. Big up Wayne Campbell every single time. big up his gallery, a celebration of demonstration. Please go and support what he's doing. Brent's going to show the book right now. Thank you. A celebration of demonstration. Amazing, poignant images that are timeless, man. He's obviously got his gallery in Brixton Village, units, is it 24A, I believe it is? When you get there, you'll find it, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, support all that he's doing, man. Amazing man, been through a lot, and obviously he's here, man, enlightening us, so I really appreciate him as a guest. Of course, today, in our topic of the day, we spoke about how Allahu Akbar, according to Robert Jenrick and some of the far right, should be a term that should be banned from the mouths of British people. Apparently, people should be arrested. But also, obviously, we spoke about integration, and if maybe ignorance, sometimes we should be more understanding of it, and pander at times to kind of get peace.
No, just to make people feel better about themselves. It's not peace, because it's peace for one side. It's one-sided, sorry.
That is true. So
it's not really peace, is it?
Mm-hmm. And in our headlines, we spoke about Keir Starmer telling the police to stay on high alert for the riots. Everyone must be safe. But of course, we also heard about the Labour councillor, Ricky Jones, who was arrested after allegedly telling protests that fascists need to have their throats cut. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, a woman was arrested also over an inaccurate social media post about the identity of a Southport stabbing suspect. So guys out there doing disinformation, be careful in it. Hugh Edwards, we heard, got stripped of his top Welsh honour, which is the first of that ever happening. And also we heard about one animal who was sleeping with animals.
You're an animal sleeping with animals.
And his name is Adam Britton. You can't make it up. You know what I'm saying? That, I was going to say gentleman, but that animal was jailed for raping, torturing, and killing dozens of dogs.
Nah, man. There's a special place in hell for people like you. I don't understand.
Insane.
And I don't even care about animals.
And our last set of headlines, obviously we spoke about Shein and how they've avoided an estimated £150 million of import tax. And yeah, they've just obviously added that to their profit margins, man. And of course, a second police officer that's under criminal investigation with regards to the gentleman that was kicked in the head, stamped in the head at Manchester Airport. And of course, Miss South African contestant who withdraws from the competition because apparently her mother has been accused of identity theft. But yeah, great show today, man. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in live, listening after the show. Appreciate all you guys, man. TDA community is the best community. I'm telling you. Also, just want to remind you guys as well, we've got an amazing tour on the 17th from 12 to 3 p.m. I know a lot of people got tickets. Some people ask, oh, can I get more than one ticket? You can get a maximum of 2 tickets. If you want to bring somebody along, and obviously if there's enough tickets left, you can do that. All we ask is that you guys can actually come. You know what I'm saying? This is a special that Daryl Blake is doing for us, just to show appreciation to TDA, the team, and the entire community as a whole, man. It's going to be very, very insightful. It's a tour, 3-hour tour in the central city of London about the slave trade and the money trail, basically, yeah, man. So looking forward to that. Guys, if you haven't already and you're interested, make sure you get those tickets ASAP. So yeah, just let us know in the Discord or Instagram, and I'll send you the link. And yes.
Thank you, Antonia.
Big up, Antonia. She said...
I'm doing the love heart, excuse me. Can you not? Thank you. Because I was doing it for ages. Here you go. This is for you.
You can read that, please.
Eman and Gina, it's been a great show today. I appreciate you both, so thank you. And Brent, your hard work never goes unnoticed, so thank you.
Thank you very much, man.
And your comment is lovely, and we appreciate it. So here's a love heart for you. It's a bit wonky, but...
Big up Antonia every time, man. And yeah, man, I think that's pretty much it. Have a great weekend, guys.
Love,
See you Monday.
peace,
See you Monday.
and chicken grease.
Peace.